We call ourselves CiiiTY, but we global. And everybody that has a voice is allowed to be vocal.
How is the music scene like in Fort Lauderdale? Because, you know, you're in this weird spot. It's not Miami.
I am the music scene.
It's not, you know, it's not necessarily, I mean, it's kind of Broward area.
Yeah.
But it's not necessarily like where the heart and soul is like in Broward, the music scene in Broward right now.
I feel like Broward is different than Fort Lauderdale. I understand it's all the same county, but like,
yeah, it is different. I think a lot of people would agree.
Like if you think of Broward, you're not thinking of Fort Lauderdale, you know?
Right,
so there's not music coming out of Fort Lauderdale. I know a couple different people that are in that area, but nobody big is really popping off right now. It's just a scene. It's really just growing. A bunch of bars, places to eat. The beach is probably one of the nicest beaches I've ever been to. It's kind of where the white girls reside at. So music isn't really coming out of it yet.
Okay. So are the white girls anti-music? Like what's going on with
anti-music?
Like are
the white girls anti-music? No, they...
You said it's the white girls bees over there.
All right, so here's what happens. Black women create the sounds, create like what they want.
Yeah.
White women steal it, and then white women go and like spend more on it.
Okay.
So that's what happens. So the music scene in that area should be popping off because that's where the white girls are at, because that's where they steal the good sounds, the good vibes, the good looks, and then go and pay extra for it.
Yeah. I think other races, particularly white people, I think they consume more music, like as far as like buying it, actually buying it, you know?
They'll go to the shows, they'll do the streaming.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, all of it.
So would you say Fort Lauderdale is a profitable market for you when it comes to making music?
Once I convince them to profit on it, like to consume it, once they're convinced, then I think that would be the new hub. Everybody wants to go down to Miami, but it's cluttered in Miami, you know? People come up to West Palm, and that's where it pops, but like you got to travel up to West Palm, you know? Like it was an hour drive to get up here. And Fort Lauderdale is kind of just like that in between, that right there, right in the middle. So people are already there, people are already spending money. Eventually they'll pay. Yeah. I plan on it.
Yeah, they will eventually. I think you're more of a businessman sometimes than a musician, and it would appear so, than an artist.
Well, I feel like this music is only going to last me so long, you know? And so like the bigger picture is eventually I don't want to be, and we talked about this, I don't want to necessarily be the CEO, I want to be the founder. Yeah. And so in order to be the founder, you have to start a lot of different things. You have to think of bigger things. You have to see past just like yourself and your limitations to see what is capable, right? And so I definitely want to, like, I'm not a businessman, I'm a businessman, right? Like I feel like I want to be bigger than it all.
Yeah. So. No, definitely the right path for you. Now, not only an artist, you produce your own music. You swim faster than Michael Phelps. So I heard, I read somewhere you be out
in the past,
you be out swimming Michael Phelps a little bit.
Used to be a swimmer.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna talk too much about.
Yeah, ain't gonna talk. You don't like that side of what you do. That's but cool. I still think that's pretty cool. So with the producing, how did you start? How did you come about doing that?
Oh man, I sucked at this music shit. I was horrible. Yeah. And so being as bad as I was, no one wanted to help. So I had one dude who wanted to kind of help me out with.
Suck at what? Like the producer part or the
music?
In general, music. Rapping, everything.
Yeah, it sucked.
Okay.
The music that was being produced just sucked. Whether I was on a YouTube beat or I was on a friend's beat, like it wasn't it, you know? That was at the time where people were like, yo, you should stop releasing stuff. And I was like, I gotta get better somehow. So I had to figure out how to produce my own stuff, how to chop up samples, how to use a piano roll. And it kind of just went from there, you know?
Yeah.
So I built a base on how to produce, and then I ran with it, and I slowly got better. Just like anything, it's just practice.
So you built a base. What does that mean?
Yeah.
Well,
I used to just make beats. I still do this, but I would just, in like 30, 45 minutes, it would just make a beat and then skip and go to the next one.
Okay.
And I'll just have a stack of beats that I made.
Yeah. And at that time, were you hopping on those beats, or was anybody else getting on them?
Every once in a while, I'll come up with a beat. I feel like if you can't freestyle to the beat, or you can't like hum or something or bop to it, then it's not worthy of getting on.
Right.
So I was just trying different things, and if I could feel like I could freestyle something, then I would like throw it into Pro Tools, and I would actually sit down and write something. Okay. And that's what I do now. So if I feel like it's good enough to put like a melody on, then I'll just load it up.
Okay.
And then I record.
Yeah. And apparently, even though you're not proud of that department, you were an athlete.
Yeah.
And you got a stipend, right? For, up for about $500 or more.
Yeah, just about $500-$600. It was somewhere in between there.
Ended up spending it on equipment. How explain that story?
So my first year in college, I was at LSU. And so being an athlete at LSU, you have to be there certain times when school's out. So we were there it was like Christmas break. We were there for 3 weeks. And so they gave us money to be there during those weeks. So that way we can feed ourselves. It's called a stipend. So it's called per diem.
Yeah.
So it's a stipend then. First thing I did was take that money and go to Guitar Center. And I bought myself a mic, an interface, and software.
Yeah.
And I used all that to begin to record music. I had no clue what I was doing either.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to
So how'd you know what to buy? You went to YouTube
I walked
and stuff?
and I was like, what do I need? And they're like, you need this. And then they're like, it's gonna cost you this much. And I was like, I only got this. They're like, so then you can only get this. I was like, I bet. So I had like the little plug-in headphones, like the old school iPhone headphones that are like the wire. Yeah. So I would put that in. I would record with that. I was like, to a little shitty ass mic, and then that's how that started.
Okay, would that have something to do with the music not having been as great in the beginning, or do you think it has to do with your skill set?
So when I was growing up, I wasn't allowed to like be vocal and be loud and things like that, right?
Yeah.
So I wasn't allowed to like sing in the car type shit.
What the heck?
Don't even get me started. So I did a lot of things like making a beat was semi-easy because I would like beatbox to school and stuff. But I didn't get a flow. Like nobody around me was making music. At the time I was living really high-end neighborhood. So I was in band, but like these band kids were just playing like rock and jazz and like swing and stuff like that, it was dope, but like I didn't find flows or rhythms through that. So I was very, very much so outside my culture. So I had to figure it out myself, like I didn't grow up doing it. So when it came to the vocals, I just knew I wanted to rap. I wanted to be a singer. I wanted to be an artist.
Right.
I had melodies, but I had to figure it out how to do it.
Yeah. So were you not exposed to the hip hop?
I was
kind of like
on the radio.
Yeah.
Like that's how I did my music. I was exposed on the radio, and then I was exposed to whatever my dad would play me in the car and stuff. So we listened to a lot of jazz, a lot of like old school like Al Green, Temptations. I think the flows came from like Andre 3000. Trying to listen to Outkast. But like those aren't things that I could replicate. Like I wasn't just gonna spit as fast as Andre 3000, and I think I was good at it, And then those were the only times I listened to music, was in the car with my dad or on the radio in the morning.
Yeah.
And so every other time I had to create music or like have sounds in my head.
Yeah, you had to kind of go find it a little bit.
Yeah.
More, kind of have to work for it.
So yeah, I didn't figure it out.
Okay. So how early in your life, how old were you when you started, dabbling in songwriting and started to work on yourself, like on your flow and all these different things?
High school I think was when I actually started to write. So I actually started pen and pad. And I used to beatbox at school, and so my first song I made, I can't even remember it now. My first song I made, I would just beatbox and write the lyrics in my head, and then I would keep the lyrics in my head, and I would just memorize it. And so that's how I built a full song, just through memory. And then after that, yeah, I just kept going, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, you just kind of just over time you built up different, you know.
Yeah, I just, as you grow, you gain new things. You like experiment new ways. So that's why I'm more melodic now. Because you grow and you realize, hey, I'm good at this. I like doing this. And then you kind of just sit into your artistry. And so, yeah, people are like, you're a rapper, this and that, other thing. You do hip hop. I'm more of a pop artist than I am a rapper.
Yeah.
Because that's just the way I feel like I'm flowing now.
Okay. So where does the passion come from for music? Because you mentioned a lot of people didn't believe in what you were doing. You had people tell you, to stop.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and you were great at other things. So what kept the flame burning for music? Where does that passion come from? Even though it's not something you started out gifted at, but something you wanted to work on and get better on and not stop doing it. Where does that passion come from for you?
It's a good question. I've always felt like I'm meant for more. Like I'm meant for bigger, right? And I have this urgent feeling that I have to give my voice and my thoughts and my opinions to the world within a short amount of time. So I try really hard to be good at what I do, and to make sure that my voice is heard. And I don't want it to be on a small scale. Like it can't be on a small scale. Like I understand that the people you affect closest to you, that makes a difference in the world, right?
Right.
But I've always wanted more. I remember the day Michael Jackson died, and the love that the world was giving him because of his death was incredible. So since then I was like, that is what I want.
Yeah.
So that is what I'm chasing.
Yeah, he was getting that love because of his impact too. Like that's kind of what you're aiming to be, right? Not necessarily industry, but global.
Right.
Like,
but not just in like a single field. Like I want to be able to give back everywhere. Not everywhere, but like in a lot of different areas, in a lot of different ways. And I plan to do that through like my people, my friends, my family. So once I'm at a certain level, like I'm fairly altruistic, but I'm not the most out of the people I know.
Yeah.
And so I know that if I can get on, then I can put like my cousin on, who's going to be better at providing for like the children across the world than I could ever be. You know? So those are like the type of things that I know my influence can change and create.
It doesn't answer the question of why music though, because I feel like you could do that through a lot of different, in a lot of different ways.
Often too, they're like, what is your favorite part about music? And it's not actually creating the music.
Yeah.
Which is, granted, I love sitting in a room making beats, putting my vocals on a track. But my favorite part is sharing it. My favorite part is seeing that I've created something and to be able to give it to somebody else for them to enjoy.
Yeah.
The creation is a long process, not that I necessarily have to suffer through, but a long process that needs to happen, and it's kind of like more internal than anything and helps me release a lot of things. But the sharing process, and I kept sharing my music with people, and I kept seeing, I mean, a lot of people were just like,
Yeah.
But as I grew, more and more people were like, yo, I fuck with this. I need this. I want more of this.
We strive to motivate, inspire young minds so they don't go to waste. We call ourselves CiiiTY, but we global. And everybody that has a voice is allowed to be vocal.